it just wasn't gonna happen, you know? Who's gonna buy that? Not me. Hello, internet friends. Y'all know by now, this is my all-time favorite video to make. 2025 trend predictions. Let's do this. Now, obviously, as a quick note, trends can always feel a little all-consuming, and I just want to say, I thought it was very interesting. Vogue recently did a survey for their readers to see what they thought the best trends were for 2024, and 50% of the readers voted that trends are done and over with. So many people year after year tend to agree more and more with this. I can't say that trends are dying out because I don't think trends are really ever gonna go anywhere. I think it's really important that we start viewing trends differently. Right now, we are so hyper niche down on one specific thing, one item trending, or one specific outfit style trending. So I think it's important to just remember what the current aesthetic or drive is for certain creators and why they're making certain products. And I think that's how I'm gonna break down this video, is we're not going to talk specifically about individual items. We're going to be talking about style and designs in general. So with that being said, let's jump into my 2025 trend predictions. Okay, first off, this isn't even actually a prediction. This is the actual color of the year designated by Pantone, but we have Mocha Mousse is the color of the year. Can I just say, staring at this color was absolutely beautiful. Like, I don't know why. I mean, I look at a lot of Pantone's color lists on a pretty regular basis, and for some reason, this color in particular, like, sucked me in. I just could not stop staring at it. I was like, you know, this really is a soothing color. Last year was Peach Fuzz, and I think a lot of people were a little up in arms over Peach Fuzz. They weren't very happy with that color tone just because it didn't quite make sense in a lot of people's wardrobes, whereas I feel like Mocha Mousse is such a safe bet. And it's also just really fun to say Mocha Mousse, and it's just as equally fun to look at the color. But you guys know I have to start out with this prediction, but BOHO, I mean, come on now. I've been talking about it for the last year. I talked specifically about the Chloe campaign a little bit too much at this point. I just think BOHO is going to dominate 2025. There is no doubt in my mind. You're already starting to see it kind of trickle in, even in a lot of the more like mainstream brands. Think like H&M, Topshop, ASOS, all of those accessible, affordable brands are already starting to showcase a little bit more of a boho style, which is saying a lot coming off of the last like 5 or 6 years being minimalism. So I personally, you guys know how I feel about this already. I don't need to talk too much about it, but like, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so excited. I thought it might be helpful though to give you a list of brands that have been doing the boho look for years. I think Chloe is at the top of that list, but I think there are still a lot of brands out there, a lot like how Brunello Cucinelli and The Row have always been seen as very quiet luxury, very minimalist style. At the top of that list, I think is Ulla Johnson. Ulla Johnson has always been a very bohemian aesthetic, almost think like resort wear mixed in with a very boho flowy vibe. She's not afraid to play around with patterns and bold prints. I think Doen is another really good brand that utilizes natural fibers. I think two of my personal favorite brands is Bode I have been following for years. She started strictly with vintage and upcycling and kind of recreating garments. The heritage story that you can get from Bode, it just feels like every single piece that she makes is so full of intention and so well designed that I just can't help fall in love with every single piece, because she uses so much of what history has to offer as far as style, concept, design, all those things. She just has created such an amazing line, and even though the pieces are well out of my price point, it is such a treat to be able to follow even her Instagram account and see all of the pieces that she's created over the years. And of course, Ralph Lauren. I think the interesting thing with Ralph Lauren is he can kind of play in both fields. Like, sometimes he can feel very minimalist in design, and other times it can feel very boho and, you know, kind of free-flowing type style. But I think Ralph Lauren is probably one of the brands that just has their hands in everything. I think I've said this one too many times as a prediction over the last few years, and it hasn't quite come to fruition. I think I mentioned it in my spring trend guide, and it just didn't feel like it quite went that mainstream. I am still seeing it though in quite a few different shows. I think like Miu Miu and Prada, those are two really good examples. I think it'll be really interesting to see how it takes shape this time around, because when I think of mod, I think Ben Sherman, I think Brooks Brothers, like that was kind of what shaped that 1960s trend, and it was very androgynous style. You had both men and women taking these like very clean lines and clean shapes, but everything got shorter and skinnier in design. And I think it'll be interesting to see how that translates right now. Just thinking about this, I kick myself on a regular basis for getting rid of a Ben Sherman zip up jacket. It was like a herringbone kind of style that just like, it was menswear, but I had it in the early 2000s. And I don't know why I got rid of it. I don't think I realized how important Ben Sherman is as a brand, and it breaks my heart that like for some reason I didn't see the value in it in my youth, and now being older I'm like, why did I get rid of that? Stay with me on this one because this has not taken shape yet. Like there's no term coined that I know of, so I don't know how to describe it. So I am just going to describe it as English countryside post-war era chic fisherman seafarer vibe. That's what I have written down. And it makes sense in my head because plaid is just everywhere. And I think of that kind of like post-war era British countryside vibe. Think like LL Bean wellies, classic plaid prints, Barber, Boggs, all of those. I think this can go in two different ways. You can have kind of the like very aristocrat style dressing. I think of like Lydia Millen and her brand. That's been her go-to look for, you know, I don't know, all of her adult life, it seems like. And then you also have almost like grandma style vibe of the English countryside, or very outdoorsy style where it's not even intentional. I don't think post-war era they were waking up thinking I'm going to put together this like really nice eclectic plaid outfit. The cool thing about this trend though is there are so many influences that you can pull from. You can find this style in a very Parisian aesthetic. You can go for the, you know, eclectic kind of Copenhagen aesthetic, or you can go for the, you know, top tier, high luxury, quiet luxury style and still fall into kind of the overall description of this look. I think of like Cezanne, I think of the Chloe campaign, I think of Barber, the Barn jacket, all of that is morphing into this one very specific style that, again, I'm interested in 2025 to see how exactly it takes shape. But I think plaid is going to be one of the biggest influences all throughout the year. Obviously plaid reigns during the, you know, spring, winter, fall, winter, spring kind of time frame, but I'm really interested to see how exactly it takes shape and what trends we really see emerge out of it. But mark my words, English countryside, post-war era chic, fisherman seafarer vibe, that's what's up. Let's talk about shapes and silhouettes because I think there are some very specific pieces that we're gonna start to see. The first being bubble and peplum, but I am noticing a lot more baby doll tops where, you know, it's kind of like up here and then bows out. I do think the bubble hem seems to be taking mainstream even as we speak right now. So before we even hit 2025, because that's what I'm filming this, bubble hem, I feel like I'm still seeing it everywhere. I do think the bubble skirt is a bit of a micro trend in my opinion, and I think that's why it's so important to think critically about investing in a piece like this versus, you know, kind of taking something and upcycling it. I remember in the early 2000s, the bubble skirt trend was huge. Do I like it? Yes, I think it's a little bit more of like a party dress style. So I think that's why we can kind of see it as like a quick flash in the pan kind of thing. Next to ruffles and frills, this one should be so obvious because we have, you know, the boho style being like the #1 dominating trend that I think is coming. I think it's a little bit softer ruffles and frills, whereas for the last like probably 3 years I think we saw a lot of like 1980s inspired ruffles and frills, and I think of like the strong voluminous shoulders and kind of puffed sleeves. That's very like either 30s or 80s, and I think this is a lot softer ruffles and frills, very flowy shapes from the 1970s, no doubt. But I think the one style that they keep trying to make happen, and I don't think it's really gonna happen, is the one pant leg. It's like one full pant leg and then one half pant leg. I feel like this is the micro mini shorts of this year are the half pant leg of next year. I really don't think that's gonna go mainstream. Is it interesting in design? Yes, I'm here for that. It just wasn't gonna happen, you know? Last but not least, the trend that I really can't wait to see take shape, and I am so interested in seeing what it becomes, but that is soft dressing. I'm hearing that term just about everywhere right now. I am very much an androgynous dresser. Like, I like clean lines. I like minimalist style. I like very utilitarian vibes. That is what I gravitate towards. You give me that and you give me quality and I am a very happy person. But soft dressing seems like it is going to take over in 2025. The minimalism design that we've seen over the last 5 years is the direct opposite of soft dressing. So I think that's why I'm so interested to see how much of it actually takes shape. But I think soft dressing and boho goes hand in hand. It's very feminine in design, and I think it's gonna push a lot of people out of their comfort zone because we are just so used to the very like modern, relaxed, casual style of today. If you look at any streetwear posts, most notably, they are baggy jeans, they are oversized clothing. Everything is very like loose fitting in style, but it is not very soft at all. That is it for this 2025 trends prediction list. Let me know down below what you guys are the most excited to see in 2025. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you're new around here, I might have a couple extra videos for you right here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.